Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Oh, I missed the open a little bit, sorry. Guess I kind of got lost when I was eating. Let's grab links. Grab Twitch here. And share. Morning. Good morning, Eric, new guy in the chat. Okay, big hit there at 19. And there we go. So where are we at? Well, yesterday it looks like we balanced out in Treasuries finally. We're a little bit higher. I expect, well, not expect, but it's a possibility that we move up from here. That the downtrend is over. But there's still this idea out there that the Chinese really want to sell this. So if we start to see a real downtrend develop, then we are below the VWAP. Excuse me. We're below the VWAP, but just barely. You can see there the orange. 2 ticks below. You know, it could get crazy again if they decide to go for the lows to end the week. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. The E-mini, you know, had a really good run yesterday in the pre-market mostly. And it continued a little bit, but then it's come back. So we'll see how they fight. I think that you see some profit taking off of that today. It being Friday, you're going to tend to see more of a counter move. Don't know what's with my voice today. Keep coughing. I hope I get completely over this weekend because it's getting tiring. Okay, and we do have some news. We have Canadian CPI. So, yeah, we'll see. Usually don't see Treasuries, you know, come off after all that. That and this clock. Okay. Well, here between 19.5 and 17, I think it kind of becomes a difficult trade. Especially at 18.5, it's kind of, it was a pivot before, so it could turn around here. But I can also see some incentive for them to want to go below it, so I don't know what that's the best spot for a trade. It kind of seems like it would be a bad spot. We got this political news still going on up there. Ford is trying to negotiate conditions for her to testify this next week, but based on the conditions that she wants right now, I'm kind of starting to become skeptical as to whether or not it ever actually happens.
And just a heads up, in under 3 weeks' time, we will get the release of the Canadian inflation month. Looking for an estimate of -1% year on year to what, 8%. We'll also get the release sales for Canada month on month for July, spot 4%. Ex autos spot 6. Then a note from BMO. They said on retail sales they expect it to rise to spot percent in July versus in the prior months. They also lower ex autos market appeal. Going into the retail sales and CPIs, the Bank of Canada hike odds are at 80% for October. For the reading, I will lead with inflation month on month, followed by year on year, then into core, and then onto retail sales month on month to 1 minute.
Man, cough's really bad today, isn't it?
10 seconds. Inflation month on month minus spot 1%, year on year 2.8%, core year on year 1.7%, month on month 0.1%. Retail sales month on month spot 3%, ex autos month on month spot 9%.
Okay. So one cell.
Just to repeat, CPI inflation month on month in line at minus spot 1%, year on year in line 2.8%, or year on year in line at 1.7% month on month. Below the estimate of 1%.
So there is a flash manufacturing PMI.
Sales came in at 0.3% below expectation.
Back at, well,
we have some revisions on revised last month down. Ex autos revised up from revised to spot 1%.
Anyways, so we do have more news. The flash manufacturing PMI at 7:45 my time, which is about an hour and a half from now. So, sorry, an hour and 15 minutes. So this might be really awful action until then, but sometimes they surprise us, so let's stay on our toes. Nothing interesting that I'm not really hearing anything big from. Donald Trump rally last night. He didn't say anything that interesting. Walmart warns it will be forced to raise prices due to trade war. Oh, it's almost like tariffs raise prices exactly like they're intended to, guys. Shocking. Okay, so they started going for it there at 18, and we getting some iceberging here. And they hit back, and they ticked up, and they stacked a little bit. This kind of action is just like... I would not call this high probability action. It's kind of a crapshoot here as to whether it continues or reverses. Okay, well they hit into 18.5 now and are encountered an iceberg there today. Or sorry, 2. Morning, Uzi. By the way, did you end up taking a trade yesterday? If I recall correctly, you had gone through all that crazy and you still hadn't taken one. Yeah, or smack dab in the middle of a happy 3-day range in ZB. That's a good point. A very good point that I should have pointed out. And what you're seeing right now is a lot of volume. Oh, no, all over the wrong chart. We're seeing a lot of volume at, kind of the lower end of this range. Granted, you could see that, and that kind of makes things... Now, this week has been really good, but I didn't take one yesterday. After I was wrong about the low being broken, I didn't want a chance being wronger. Well, so, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Just a heads up, in under 10 minutes, we are expecting May to deliver a Brexit Downing Street.
Yes, this statement's going to be interesting, I think. But no, I mean, the thing is there was some distribution down here at the 16 area yesterday. And so there is a chance here in Treasuries that we break the low. And I think at that point, it would be really easy for us to all get excited and want to go for the 14 and so forth. And have it completely reverse and come right back to where it was, because of where that was. So I really don't like the trade today. Although, and the thing that kind of bothers me is that if it's going to stay range bound, I think that buying at 18.5 right there, yeah, you missed it, but I don't know if you get filled now, but I think buying at 18.5 would be the play. But it's just not high probability enough for me to they could totally go through that and try and break the lows, and I don't know.
BBC did report that May is not to change tack on Brexit.
The whole Brexit thing is I find really crazy, because they voted on this thing and they can't seem to get it done. And it's like you've got people that didn't really want to leave trying to negotiate it. Reading some of the Reddit comments about it yesterday too was like really interesting, because we're not from Europe. I don't really understand what's going on there that well. I mean, 6,000 contracts absorbed. That's your buy. Okay, well, they ticked up and they put an okay bid. We'll see if they tick back down or not. I think on a day like today, I would much rather see something like a really impulsive move that looks like it's going to continue through that fails and we can fade. I could have played the reverse yesterday, but I was stabbed.
The UK PMA's statement on Brexit may be delayed.
Fine. Kavanaugh accusers' conditions sound like demands, Conway says. This one is starting to become very difficult for me, from a political perspective, to predict. But I believe that these conditions that she's asking for are kind of ridiculous. And I'm wondering if maybe the Republicans just say to hell with it and just vote for him. Makes zero sense. Like, whether or not you believe her or not, think about it. He testified on Monday to the panel that he's innocent. He testified under penalty of perjury, and one of her conditions is that at the hearing he has to go first. Why would he have to go first? He's already testified to the panel on the matter. What would he say that is different. Like, the whole point here is the victim makes an accusation. They question her so that they can get, as much detail on this as they can, although I'm guess probably there's not more detail than what we already had, but there could always be some teeny tiny little thing that she says or does that people could latch onto. Okay, that pulled at 19, that was very interesting. And they did take it. I mean, the thing is if you take it long at 18.5, you're still sitting here, not even one take up, right? But then, whatever it is that she says, then they have more information, and he has the opportunity to respond to that more information, and it's only right that he gets a chance to respond to what she says. So why should he have to go first? It makes zero logical sense. And if I was negotiating for that, I would be sitting there saying, well, why would we make that a key demand? Because they're not, doesn't make sense. They're not going to do it that way. And I feel like the only reason why you would ask for that is if you don't really want them to accept the terms, Like they want the Republicans to come back and say, no, that's not the way to do it. This is wrong. And then they'll come around and say, okay, then we're not going to testify. We wanted to testify, but because they wouldn't let us do it in a way that was safe and reasonable for us, we're not going to do it. And there you go. They dashed it at 18.5. I guess I'm glad I didn't take it. So I took it way too easily, too. And so the read that I'm getting is that Republicans are probably going to think that this is just a delay tactic, and maybe they just say to hell with it. Which would be really bad, I think. It would be really bad for victims, I think it'd be bad for the country to not get it resolved. But I just can't wrap my head around any other reason why it would, I don't know if it really affects markets that much, Supreme Court nominee, but it's politics is always relevant, I guess. Okay, well now they're hitting 17.5. So now we're getting into this scenario we were talking about earlier, right? Where they could totally go for lows and things could get really exciting, but then because there was that distribution there earlier in the week, it doesn't continue. It immediately reverses back up for us. Kind of interesting that we're sitting here at 18, not holding a strong bid, but at the top of that zipper. And those E-mini making a run. Yeah, oh yeah, they did make a good run there. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Yes, it is. Lag Jan, is that how you say that? Every day. Making a fool of myself. I wonder if Igor has anything to say here. I'd be really interested to see because he's got a pretty great read on the long-term market action. I think bonds look good today for up, but we had an up day yesterday from the Globex session. So I kind of get that feeling like kind of you're looking the same thing, but the opposite. We're like, well, we could go down, but it's kind of likely to disappoint. Quad witching usually goes up. Oh, that's good to know. Downside obviously open below 140.
We're now here in the UK PMA statement in Downing Street. Delay due to issues.
Sweet. Oops. I sold my mixer, my DJ mixer, yesterday on eBay, and it did pretty good at auction, and the guy just paid, so I've got to go take it down to the USPS today and send it. Made $970 off of it, which is great because I think I only paid like $500, $600 on it. Like when I bought it, the guy didn't list it very well, and I got a great price on it. So I'm super happy about it.
And heads up that Trump is now up and nothing of.
Nothing of significance said. Judge Brett Kavanaugh is a fine man with an impeccable reputation who is under assault by radical left-wing politicians who don't want to know the answers. They just want to destroy and delay. Facts don't matter. I go through this with them every single day, and they see that's actually an interesting comment to me. Because he says that this is not just, oh man, it's funny to watch that live, how fast it gets retweeted and everything. Already retweeted 500 times. Already 183 comments, 2K likes. Wow, that's crazy. You are getting a bit of a long signal here at 18. I think that this one looks a little better than when they were absorbing a ton at 18.5, right? 65 is not bad in ranging action. but it is still within this profile. And it's not necessarily in the best spot risk-wise, so I'm not 100% sure that I want to take that one either. Anyways, the reason I find that his comment interesting is because it exposes his political strategy here. He's trying to say that what the Democrats are doing here is he's trying to use the Brett Kavanaugh fight as a proxy for Democrats behave badly. They don't want to know the answers, they just want to destroy and delay. Because the message is obviously, if you ever want to have progress in this country, you need to stop voting for Democrats. That's the message, right? Now, is that a winning strategy for the midterms? I don't know. I feel like that all of Donald Trump's supporters already feel that way. And I don't know if this makes them more likely to turn out. But if this continues to go a certain way, I don't know. A lot of conservative commentators feel that there's some evidence out there that's about to come out when we have the hearing that would exonerate him. And if it did, and they went with this strategy, I think it could really help the midterms.
Cash active preview is on the board.
Well, there's a good uptick right there, and they did stack 5K behind it.
Some European equity news. We are hearing from German Chancellor Merkel backing proposal to require hardware retrofit cars via the speed. The challenges we face in Europe today are in many ways similar to those of the 1980s, and many of them have weak growth performance at their root. Just heads up, the UK and PMA are now in a period in front of cameras ready to make the statement. PMA says talks would always be tough and toughest in final straight, because both sides want a deal. May says if we want a deal, there are two big issues where we remain far away. May says the two biggest issues are economic relationships, where EU is offering two options. UK PMA says there could be no border in the Irish Sea. It says Northern Ireland would effectively remain in the customs union under EU proposals. That's even worse. She says Parliament has rejected this idea. PMA says Northern Ireland is an integral part of the United Kingdom and says I will never agree to a border in the Irish Sea. UK PMA says EU making a mistake if they think I will agree to that. UK PMA says anything which fails to respect the referendum and effectively divides our country in two would be a bad deal. Says no deal is better than a bad deal.
Okay, well, they ticked down for a bit, and now it's back up. Now that it's back up, the wall is not quite as big, but it's still 65. And they are absorbing quite a bit at 18.5 as well. So,
just said our proposals would undermine single market.
Interesting.
She says that we are at an impasse. Yesterday, Tusk did not explain how our proposals would undermine single market. We are at an impasse. UK PMA says we both agree we need a backstop. Says Brexit deal must include an Irish backstop. PMA says we will never agree to breaking up our country. May goes on to say we will set out alternative proposals. May says we cannot accept anything that does not respect the referendum result. Wikipedia May says we must and will continue the work of preparing a no deal. May goes on to say, no, on a no deal, we will do everything to avoid a hard on island. May says, I will not overturn the referendum result. May has finished her presser. Just in commodities, we are seeing spot gold coming under pressure today, falling 1% to $1,194 per ounce.
I don't know. I mean, if we were in this trade and it would be from 18, right? You'd only be looking at plus 2 ticks, and they haven't given you the plus 3 yet. And it's also interesting that the big order that was originally at 17.5 now the 18 is bigger, but it's 58.16. It's not 65. So this is kind of where I'm saying that, like, it's a good long, but maybe if I had taken a trade, maybe I should only be taking plus 2 because it's just not going anywhere. And what happens if the mini comes in and they decide to buy it up? I mean, I don't know if that's like a really good chance of that happening, but it is a scenario that could happen. I didn't even notice that Bitcoin really moved up last night. That's really interesting. Did that break the trend line that they've had going? Because it. If they were to, I want to see it on GDAX. I want to see it on a 6-hour chart. I'm gonna bring it over here for you guys to see too. Okay. So you're still kind of not at the 6-hour single prints at 68.45. Oh, did they break it right there? Yeah, they broke 18 and 17.5, just like crazy. So Bitcoin is still not out of its range. It could still just be the last. It's still going. See that? You see that? Like it's a pretty clear line from here to here to here. There, it's pretty clean line. So okay, so for them to come down now and touch 17.5, they went through. There was no volume there.
Eastern European, now hearing from French President Macron's office saying no comment when asked about British PM May's speech on Brexit.
So this whole sequence of events here in Treasuries, I think, is kind of funny because we had what appeared to be a pretty solid buy there at 18, right? This is not showing up as like a huge order on our Vista chart, but there was 6,068 at one point stacking there. Pretty good amount there. And we moved up 2 ticks. And it didn't go, and so it puked. So we were kind of, like I was saying, given this action and it's a Friday and everything, this is maybe not one worth taking. And so, of course, that was the correct reading there. It was totally just a trap, and they knocked people out for 2 ticks. But after all of that, they didn't break a new low. So they probably caught people both ways. They probably got up a couple of people that took the long there, and then they shoved them underwater. And then they probably got a bunch of people selling into that, thinking that, okay, maybe now we're going to go and make new lows, and the selling is on. And it didn't actually do that either. This is just exactly why I hate Fridays. This is why I do so poorly on Fridays. I take that trade and they fuck me over every time. And today I said, no, this isn't the spot to do it. And I think in that instance that the tell was 1, that it was on Friday, and 2, that we were within the distribution around the point of control. Those were the 2 reasons. What about you guys? Did you more trading capital? No, I'm not gonna. We were probably talking about when I was talking about selling the mixer, right?
China would slow the world economic growth, but Russia the chance to fill American niches on the Chinese market.
I mean, I'm tempted, but I really feel like before I go live again, I need like 5K, which could take a while. But I have a zone mixer, and Native Instruments is like updating everything. Like there's going to be a Tractor 3 now, and they got a new control surface, and I don't even have a room on this desk for that mixer, let alone like my turntables and stuff. I think.
President Trump.
Oh, hold on. What was the tweet? Anyways, so I'm downsizing so that I can kind of fit things.
Saying I will chair the United Nations Security Council meeting on Iran next week.
Interesting. I have no doubt that if the attack on Dr. Ford was as bad as she says, charges would have been immediately filed with local law enforcement authorities, either by her or her loving parents. I ask that she bring those filings forward so that we can learn date, time, and place. Well, no, you're wrong. Sorry. Sorry, Mr. President, but it is the case, so often the case, that in a situation like that, people say, it's not worth it. And honestly, think about this for a second. Let's just say that her account, that she believes her account is true. Okay? The charge that she is making is attempted rape. But from a legal standpoint, if this went to court, and this went to court back then, during their time, it probably would be, they probably wouldn't convict him. Right? Because, first of all, there's no way for her to prove that that particular interaction took place, because both him and the other guy in the room say that it didn't happen, and he has a witness, and she doesn't. There's no way that they can convict on that. But then the number two thing is it comes down to the definition of attempted rape. So you have to prove. So attempted rape would be trying to rape somebody beyond just preparations. So like if you went to the store and got a condom because you were going to rape somebody, that wouldn't be proof enough that to convict, right? So you have to do an action that shows that you have the intent to do it. So the most common action that they use in court is trying to pull their clothes off.
Now open as another record.
And that's why she's saying he tried to take her clothes off. But the situation is kind of because she had a swimsuit on underneath of her clothes, and I would guess that he would know that too. And it sounds like he couldn't even get her clothes off. So it would be really hard, even if you were to say, even if he admitted that some sort of physical contact took place, he would be able to say in court that I was just roughhousing and I had no intention to rape her. And I guess things just got out of control, but and she, misinterpreted and didn't realize that we were just playing. He could make that argument in court, and I think that he would actually get away with it, right? And then you run into the third thing, and this one I don't know how this goes in court, but like the people's memories are not. Memory is not a thing. Like our memories are really just stories that we tell to ourselves, and they are not accurate. Generally speaking, they're not accurate representations of what actually happened. You ask any police officer how reliable are eyewitness accounts of things, and you find that they are extremely unreliable. They'll say, okay, somebody came in and committed a crime, and they looked like this, and then they go to the tape and they see, yes, somebody did commit a crime, but they did not look like that at all. And eyewitness accounts are extremely unreliable. And there are cases, especially with kids, but you know, a drunk 15-year-old, yeah, totally can happen, where some memories can just come out of nowhere. Like false memories are a thing. And so without any hard evidence, even back then, it was highly unlikely that he would get convicted. Well, this look is looking a little bit better, isn't it? I mean, they are really building up some. They're really stacking up behind it, and I'm wondering if I can get from here to 20. This might be the wrong spot. You know, we've already run 4 ticks. Anyways, so I could totally see if I was I was her, that well, no, if I was her, I would have. Listen, I'm a stubborn person, and if I thought something bad happened to me, I would report it to the police and go all the way, regardless of how hopeless of a cause it was. But you know, I can understand why a lot of people would say it's not worth it, and especially since, you know, her parents would get mad at her for being at that kind of a party and everything like that. You know, I think that it's reasonable that she didn't report it at the time. But I also think it's unreasonable that she never told anybody about it. She says that she was so embarrassed and she never told anybody about it until her therapist. That to me is messed up. Like, you would gossip with your girlfriends about that, you know? So anyways, I don't think that that's a good tweet by the president. I think that might hurt him a little bit. Zero Hedge is reporting it as Trump challenges Kavanaugh accuser to produce actual evidence of assault. Okay, so that pulled a little bit at 19.
So just a heads up, then, just under 10 minutes time, we'll get the manufacturing PMI reads as a flash read.
I'm just gonna scratch it.
The range between 54 and 55 spot 2. Same time, we'll get the services PMI read for December, again a flash. Looking for a 55 spot 0 against a prior of 54 spot 8. Range there between 54 and 56 spot 2. At the same time, get the release composite flash for September. No estimates there, but a prior print of 54 spot 7.
Yeah, I think I want out of this, but you can see that it's getting hard to get filled. This is a bad sign. I think that they will find a way to get me. Okay, why did that not sell? There we go. Okay, they did take me out. It can still go up there, but I don't like the trade anymore. I took it, it didn't immediately go, and then I'm looking at the risk and I see it tick down, and I'm like, okay, this is not a good spot to be taking this trade, because this is a place they could. I mean, look, they've done it here before, right? This is right where we were before they crashed down, and they could totally still do it again. I think that they will make a tick higher, but nah, I think that the risk reward there is not correct, and clicking in there was a mistake. So I got out of it and fixed it. It's okay. Oh, there you go.
On a trade deal with Mexico and not Canada, according to the NAFTA News White House advisor has said, saying getting very, very close to having to move forward on a trade deal with Mexico and not Canada. That being said via Fox News.
Keep in mind, a couples therapist. Yeah, that point is interesting to me as well. That she didn't say anything about it until 2012 when they were in couples therapy. And
we're seeing a slight move upward here in dollar CAD on the back of those comments from White House advisor Hassan.
And this is where it kind of gets in, because I know that's
around 129.
Saying this is not like the politically correct. Like if you know, I'm actually surprised that I don't have a Democrat sitting here saying right now, like, I can't believe that you would say that. Because the idea that the allegation is a false memory is just really offensive to them. But based on the circumstances of it, that she didn't say anything about it for 30 years, and then it came up during a couples therapy session, that's the kind of situation where a false memory would be created. And you know, we're getting pulling. That's interesting. I guess maybe this flash PMI is a bigger deal than we thought. Well, now that we're getting the pulling, it does go up to 20, but I don't want to take a trade with it doing that.
It's in FX here. So strengthening 2%. Currently without central bank intervention.
Anyways, I think it's an important thing to point out for Republicans, because you know, all the Republicans that I talk to, all the people on my Facebook, I mean, I'm in Utah, I'm a Republican, pretty much everybody that I know is a Republican, except for the people on my Facebook wall, because they're all ravers and they're very, very liberal. But the Republicans are giving me like she's lying, and she knows she's lying, and I'm not entirely convinced that's true. I think it could be the case that she believes that something happened to her, but she misread the situation, and doesn't actually live up to attempted rape like she believes it does, or it's a false memory, or she has the wrong guy, like she misremembers who it was. You know, so it's not necessarily the case that she's like quote unquote evil. Because if she was truly just completely making it up and she knows it and she's only doing it for political purposes, that to me would qualify as an evil action.
Just a heads up, then just have time to US markets manufacturing PMI flash reading for September. Reminder looking for reading of 55.0, and likewise for the services PMI flash read for September looking 5.0. No estimates for the composite reading, but we had a prior read of 54.7.
Well, I kind of wish that I had taken that trade, but I mean, it played out exactly. I only wanted the 2 ticks and it would have given it to me. And it wouldn't have touched my risk, but I don't know. The spot that it was at, you know, we could go long here. That would have been great. But going long here, right next to that pivot and a break and everything, that wasn't the right trade. So I don't know. Sometimes, you can be right on that, but the risk reward still doesn't make sense. And just because the trade worked out doesn't mean that it was a good trade.
It's an FX here. You're extending his down following this comment. Once more today. PMI dollar holding some strength as we see 9 odd. Sharing from DUP's deputy leader, Dodds welcoming a PMA statement on Brexit talks. Just a minute till the PMI prints. And in emerging markets, news hearing from Fitch on Turkey saying the economic plan acknowledges adjustment challenge.
Do they lie detect for him/her? So I'm not sure if Fib is talking about what we were just talking about, but she did take a lie detector test administered by the FBI quite a while ago, didn't she? Now the problem is lie detector tests are not reliable. And what does she? Hold on a second.
Composite 50 spot 4. So to repeat that, the US market manufacturing PMI read coming in as a beta 55 spot 6 against expectations. 5 services, however, missing estimate coming in 52.9. And the composite that's 50 spot 4. The US services sector flash PMI employment index at its highest since May 2015.
Okay, so anyways, she took a lie detector test. Lie detector tests.
Manufacturing sector employment index at its lowest.
This action is kind of interesting because the news did come out. They did stack back on, but it's not moving. Anyways, so here's the thing: a lie detector test is not admissible in court and is unreliable. Christine Blasey Ford is a psychiatrist or psychologist. Like, she does research psychology. Okay. So she would know that a lie detector test is not reliable. And she would probably know what to do to fake one.
Realistic authorities will tolerate parts of Turkey's external. On spot 8% weak.
So that doesn't prove anything, but I do think it really weakens the lie detector test evidence. You know what I mean? Well, that was a good stack right there. They can try and make a move for above 21. If it keeps stacking like that, they might do it. They're the one trade when, you know, I think sometimes I get into this mode where I think it's just crappy action and I really don't want to take any trades, and maybe that's the right thing to do. But here, this came down and I said, and they didn't even make a new low, and then it went up a few ticks. It got to 19 and then it came back, and when it touched 17 half there at that point, that was a good long. So that was the one where we should have taken it, and then we could have tried to hold out for the 20 if we had wanted to, and it would have been a good 4 or 5 ticks. Now that it's at 20, I don't. So we missed the trade. That's okay. It's Friday. Honestly, like, Fridays are my worst days. So if I don't take any trades, that's okay. Because I would still have my account and be doing really, really well if I just didn't trade on Fridays. r/politics is predictably upset about Donald Trump's latest tweet. No, here's another good one, as they say. If Judge Kavanaugh should welcome an FBI background investigation to clear his name.
Saying Salzburg shows the EU is not acting in good faith.
If I was Judge Kavanaugh or the Republicans, the last thing that I would want would be an FBI background investigation. Because how do you do a background investigation like that? Well, now maybe you have to call a special prosecutor, and you see where this is going, right? It's just like the Russia investigation. You're opening the door for a never-ending investigation that goes nowhere and takes forever. So I absolutely would not want to do that. I would just say, like, I deny it, and let's vote. Bum, 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 bum. something that I keep seeing on Reddit over and over again is they say he doesn't want to testify under oath. He already testified under oath about this. Yeah, this is precisely the tweet that they're telling him that they've probably been trying to stop him from making. Yeah, I think he's probably gonna... Donald Trump getting involved in this alone is just gonna turn this into a real shitstorm. There was a big wall there at 12.
fixed income, seeing the Treasury 30-year bond yield trading around. We've seen equity news hearing via sources. KKR's Hansei lines up about 5 billion euros of financing proposed takeover. Sources saying Kalzanik has yet to bridge the valuation gap. Still no binding commitment signed.
I mean, this kind of action, it seems to me like something that could continue through, and there is a lot of liquidity up here. Like, some people seem to think that it is going to move up. Here he is, did come back there a little bit. I wonder what's going on. So something kind of crazy happened there, and somebody just sold the bonds. Look at the holy crap. Like, I don't even know what to make of this right here. You see it right there? Where I'm highlighting on the cumulative delta chart? Let's make it bigger. Look at this. What the heck?
Yep, just seeing it. Just an equity news hearing. Germany said to view Deutsche Bank and Commerzbank merger favorably. So to repeat that hearing, Germany said to view Deutsche Bank and the Commerzbank merger favorably. Of course, in recent times, we have seen a lot of speculation regarding two banks merging. So this has been doing the rounds here with Germany.
I don't know if that... I don't know what that was. It kind of makes me want to sell it.
It's an equity shares of Deutsche. Comments from Germany.
Well, it's really slowed down again, hasn't it?
Just in equity news hearing Allegan active amid activist investor speculation.
Okay. Well, they even went past that one. But now they're getting to the big 8K. We'll see what happens. All this week, so I have a theory. I'm not going to trade this. All this week, anytime that we got a big white thing like that, we went through it. And I think that now today, on Friday, that we will stop. They're going to come back and they're going to go back to 20. That's my prediction. Sucks because I got shaken out a bit, took some size to lock in some profit, who turned off the volume. Right. I think I'm just gonna stop. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about before we head out? Because I think I could just... Oh, hi, Gabriel. I got filled along at 14 and 29,000. Because he got caught in that. Holy shit, dude. This is really weird, right? Well, I really want to sit and see what happens, but I want to ship this mixer too. So, I don't know. Maybe... What? Stick around and chat. Might be around this weekend. But, you know, otherwise, I'll see you guys on Monday when we'll see if they are going to do this hearing or not. It'll be interesting. Yeah. Oh man, that really sucks, right? And there's no way to know that that's going to happen.
From China urging the US to withdraw sanctions over its purchase of fighter jets and missiles from Russia or face consequences.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'm going to post my notes and I'm going to go and mail this. So I will catch